Welcome to the Nickolas Natali Show. I have tried to record this episode on 3 different occasions, but today is going to be the day we get through it. And the reason I've had trouble getting through this episode is because I have a bit of imposter syndrome when it comes to this topic. We're going to be talking about offer building. Now, to negate some of my imposter syndrome feelings, I'm going to tell you why I feel like I can talk about this topic, and then I'm going to dive into details and some resources that will help you push beyond what I'm going to tell you, as this is just going to be an overview that'll dive deeper in episodes to come. So, offer building. Here's why I'm qualified to talk about offers. I have spent a good chunk of money learning about offer building. To be frank, it's over $35,000 that I've spent learning from consultants and programs to try to master the art of offer building. The first time I did, I spent $25,000. It was $5,000 for business consultation, 2 separate business consultations, and then they provided me a game plan of offer building and crafting, which is steep for now. I'm going to share it with you. And then after the $5,000, I ended up spending $20,000 testing and trying to validate the offers that were built based off of the consultations. And that's its own thing that we'll dive into. And then the second thing is I've invested another $10,000 into coaching programs that have helped me once again do a similar thing of offer crafting. And then of course there's books, and there's more than a handful that I've read, but the most prominent one and the most popular one in this space is of course the $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. You heard Jordan Armstrong talk about that with my episode with him. And I actually believe, to its core, if you bought that book, that is like $20 or something like that, maybe even less. I got equivalent knowledge from that book, reading it cover to cover, than spending the $5,000 on the 2 consultations from the expert. Another resource that you can utilize is Jason Watson. He had an episode, I did 2 episodes with him, where he broke down the art of creating an offer. And I thought that episode was so valuable and underrated, and one of the most important episodes that I've made that didn't quite get as much recognition as I thought it would. That's a sleeper episode and a callback for you to go and check that one out in addition to listening to this one. So the first thing to talk about when you're talking about offers is the difference between what an offer is and what your service is. So your service is essentially your deliverables, what you provide to the client month over month or once a year or whenever your time to deliver these things is. And the offer is what customers buy. To say that in another way, your customer buys your offer, you fulfill on your services. Those are the 2 distinctions that I feel like is necessary to clarify on. Now, the first part about your offer, and what I mean is what they're going to buy, is you are stating a problem that they have. This is the most important part. You need to have a very specific problem that you're solving for someone. And ideally, we'll get into niche and market, but ideally, the bigger the problem, the more likely someone is to buy. And that's kind of the first qualifier. So if you got shot, if you had a gun wound, 50 Cent style, in your ribs, that's a big problem. And the likelihood that you're going to care about how someone solves that pain for you to get rid of the bullet wound and heal that up is probably pretty irrelevant to you. Which brings me to my next point in the offer building, is the mechanism in which you solve the problem. So some people call it your unique mechanism. I think there's another one called your unique service positioning, something like that. Basically, it's the means to how you solve their problem. So let's say your problem is getting leads, for example, and the best problems that you can solve are for health, wealth, and relationships. Those all correlate back into people having an ROI for their money. Like if I buy this from you for $1,000 and you help me make $2,000 from your service, that's great. Everybody loves that. If I come to you and I'm 50 pounds overweight and you help me lose 50 pounds, everybody loves that. That's a great transformation. Those are great problems to be solving for. Relationships, more status, etc., etc. So if you want leads, somebody wants leads, my unique mechanism would be through podcasting. So I can get you more leads for your business via podcasting. That's a unique mechanism. You can also hear it with other. I'll give another example. Let's say somebody wants more leads or more sales calls. Your unique mechanism might be Facebook ads. So I wanted to talk about those two things because those are essentially what you can look at and say, hey, is this problem worth solving? And then the next thing is, do I have the skill set to solve that problem? And that's what becomes part of your offer. The next thing that you can add to it is your pricing and your terms. And to make it more appealing, so if I'm saying my specific problem is getting leads and I want to offer somebody Facebook ads or YouTube ads, the pricing and the terms in which they pay can make the offer more appealing. So if I come to you and I say, hey, I'm going to run YouTube ads for your business for $3,000 a month. That's cool. But if I have an offer, because what I just mentioned there, that's my service. If I have an offer that says, hey, I am going to get you 25 new sales calls by running YouTube ads, and you don't pay until you get all 25, or you pay by lead, or you only pay if it works. Those are like payment terms that make the incentive for someone to buy much easier, which kind of brings me to my next point of risk reversal. And Jordan Armstrong talked about this too. And this is kind of true. Like if you don't have experience or enough testimonies to showcase that you can provide what you say you can provide, having this risk reversal or guarantee is kind of a good idea, because you can say, I'm going to get you 25 leads within a month. You don't pay until I do get you those leads, or I'll pay you. That's a great guarantee. I will put $1,000 on the line, and I'll give you $1,000 if I don't. But more often, you're going to see things like, or your money back is a guarantee, or satisfaction guaranteed, which is very vague, or I guarantee you're going to get 8 clients out of this, or we'll continue to work with you until you do. Those are all guarantees that help the buyer feel like they're not going to get screwed out of something if they don't have enough trust in your business, but you'll get the sale because of a guarantee or something like that. And now to quickly sidebar to your market is important and your niche is important. Ideally, you want somebody that's going to buy from you, but you need them to have buying power and to have a real, desperation isn't the right word, but a real desire for solving the pain point that you can solve for. The classic example is taco stands outside of bars at 2 a.m. when people are plastered and hungry and need to sober up. Your tacos don't have to be that great. That's a crowd that's going to buy either way. And that's a good thing to think about if your business serves, let's say, high-ticket coaches, and these high-ticket coaches aren't able to get clients or have an issue with managing their systems and processes because they're bringing on too many clients. That's like a good correlation of this ideal avatar is desperate enough to be like, I really need this thing. So going into a sales call, they're already needing this problem solved and they hope you can do it. You just have to show them and provide them with enough trust so that they go with you. But back to competitors, it's important to see what your competitors are offering so that you don't blend in exactly like them. For example, your promise to get 25 leads per month from YouTube ads, if there's another company already out there running the exact same offer with the exact same guarantee, that's not going to help you stand out in any way. You're not going to have anything unique about you that will make you different enough for them to trust you more, but also more importantly, allow you to charge a one-on-one service. If you are looking exactly the same as other businesses, it's a race to the bottom in terms of pricing. So it essentially becomes, I'm going to look for the cheapest option if all of these people are offering the same thing and the quality of the product is virtually the same across all of these competitors. Buyers are always going to go for the lowest bidder, essentially. But if you position yourself with having something unique, which is why your unique mechanism is also important, the problem is big and you're positioning yourself in a way that's not like any of the other offers that are currently in the market, you can change the pricing. You can charge more because you're positioned differently. You're no longer competing with your quote unquote competitors in your industry. Hopefully that is making sense. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about in offer building, and this is something that took me far too long to learn, and I'm still learning this, and it makes me feel so silly that it took me this long to learn this, is something called productizing your offer. Or we've heard the idea of people saying scale your business, scaling up your business. And the way you do that is by having repeatable steps for every client. Now, basically everything I've been talking about so far is under the lens of an agency model. Like you bring on clients to fulfill on services for them. So there will be steps to do those things. Like there is steps for, I'm just going to continue with this YouTube ad offer. There's steps for setting up a client for success, to make a compelling ad, to get it onto YouTube, to target the right audience, and then analyze the analytics, and then rinse and repeat as people are booking calls with your client, etc., etc. But this is called productizing your offer. Once you have an offer built, you basically always want your clients to go through an A to Z transformation. So they don't have any leads. By the end of working with you, they have leads. Or they don't have videos for their social media. By the end of the month, they have videos for social media. You know, that's the transformation. And you hope it's like big and granular enough, like I mentioned, to solve their problems. But to go from no leads to leads, or no videos to videos, like presence online, no presence online, there are steps in between position A and position Z that need to be written down and sorted out through, so you can delegate people or software, or, you know, automate, delegate, or eliminate each part of the process so that it can be repeated every single time. Now, from my own personal experience and what I did wrong for so long, and I kept trying to grow my business in a way that is realistically unsustainable by offering whatever the client wants. And the reason this is a problem, I'll give an example. I produce podcasts and I do get leads for businesses, and we do manage their YouTubes and distribution and cut up. We don't cut our clients up, but we cut the short form clips up and all that good stuff. But then when somebody new came to me and was like, hey, can you shoot short form for me? I was like, yeah, I can. And I can edit it, and I can manage your socials. That's not what I was doing before. So now I have multiple clients where I have all of these custom offers built out for them specifically. So it's developing a new process every time that needs to get automated in its own way, tracked in its own way, rather than onboarding a client and having that client go through the same process and system that all of your clients go through. So now you can handle more sales calls and more sales than I've talked about it. I've been like, I'm at max capacity here after 2 or 3 clients because I'm doing so many different things. When it's streamlined, you can then see what needs to be done and plug and play. Get the right people in there. I know this step is coming up. I can track this pipeline and see what's next. I can see where this client is in terms of getting their podcast out, or how many leads they're getting, or how many sales they're getting, because that's already defined in the A to Z process. So it's called productizing your offer, is essentially what that's called. And then it comes to marketing, and marketing, I think I might do a different section on it because, truth be told, still learning. This is all part of documenting for me when I talk to you about these particular topics. But while you're productizing your offer, it's important to almost build an acronym of sorts so that when you market it, it's easy for a potential client to know, okay, that's the process they're going to take me through. And now there's more trust there because it's like that person knows what they're doing. They have their own unique, process. And actually, this is somewhat of hoopla to some degree, in my personal opinion, because a lot of the processes that most businesses are going through are very similar to one another, but the naming is different. And like I said, your unique mechanism is probably different too. And hopefully this helps bring some clarity. Offer building, if you have a strong offer, and I guess we can talk about testing it too. The big mistake I made when I spent $25,000 is I did that $5,000 consultation, and then I put $20,000 toward marketing and ads before the offer was validated. You can start small in the sense of most people already have a network. Reach out to people in your network or people you know and ask them, hey, do you know anybody that would like something like this? And if you continue to see no, or if they say no, but I would like something like this, you can see where tweaks need to be made in terms of what people are actually finding valuable and if this is actually a problem worth solving. So rather than spend a bunch of money on ads like I did, you can start with a smaller subset and refine and hopefully get referrals in the door and then work out the kinks of your process because you built out that A to Z process beforehand and it's going to need refinement. And then once that's in place, start scaling and running ads. And I use that word scaling as in putting fuel in the car so you can use the gas pedal to turn up the heat and bring in more clients, but actually be able to handle them because you see the steps in place. There's one last thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's in terms of finding your target audience. So when you find a market or a niche that people you think really want this thing, then when you start working with people, you're going to find that there's a language around how they talk. So what I mean by that is, I'll give an example. Plumbers probably talk different than ballerinas. That's probably true, I imagine. Or maybe, let's see, cowboys probably talk different than your CPA. They just speak differently and in different languages. And Scott Anderson talks about this in one of our episodes when he talked about how when he started working with people to work through burnout, they would say specific phrases that would describe their feeling about the problem that they have. And that is wonderful copy that can be used in advertisements. But also, the more you can understand how they talk about their problem, the better you can relate to them and ultimately, hopefully, serve them. That's what I got about offers. I have been skirting around this episode for a while because I think it's so important. And I know this is just a high-level overview of it. However, we'll definitely be talking about this more because I think it's so fundamental to business building. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a wonderful time together in this solo episode. Please leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening to podcasts. And if you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment, say hello. Let me know what you think about the hat. And I'll talk to you soon. Stay gritty. Stay disciplined. Bye-bye.